Hi, I'm Caden, here with my brother,
Cal,
and you're watching Eating W's.
eat the W.
That's a W. Let's eat one. Let's eat one. That's a W.
On today's episode of Eating W's, we have Callan's prediction for the top 10 2023 running back duos. But before we jump into that, just a few quick tidbits of news. Starting off with a release, the Vikings release four-time Pro Bowl running back Dalvin Cook. Now, I, of course, love Dalvin Cook. He is a hell of a player, to say the least. But he was just asking for a lot of money, and in today's league, running backs are kind of just a dime a dozen. It's really hard to justify paying a guy like Dalvin Cook $14 million when Alexander Mattison comes in, and I'm not saying Alexander Mattison is a better running back, but I'm saying there's not much of a drop-off in production-wise just because of the situation, the way the Vikings run their offense. So it's just really hard to do that. It's going to be fun to see what the backup Vikings running backs can do. We, of course, have Ty Chandler, who we picked up day 3 last year out of UNC, who had a really good year last year, especially in the preseason. And we have 7th-round rookie from this year, Dwayne McBride out of UAB, who's supposed to actually be pretty damn good. And then, of course, Kene Nwangu, who's just a freak athlete. So,
He remains your kick returner.
Yeah, I think that's what he really is. But I think Alexander Mattison is going to have a pretty good season. I don't think he's going to come out and be an elite running back. I don't think he's quite as good as Dalvin was. But I think that we're going to go to a much heavier pass offense. And he's going to kind of get that Kansas City running back effect where other teams are so afraid of the pass that he just kind of breaks one every once in a while because they're playing pass defense all game. But sad to see him go, but it's nice to have about $14 million more in cap space.
It's a crazy running back market right now. We got Leonard Fournette on the market, Ezekiel Elliott, Kareem Hunt, now Dalvin Cook. All these players are, I believe, 31 or less, or 31 years or younger, I believe. So
it's insane.
It shows the life of a running back is not that long in the NFL.
And they all want money, and running backs just don't get money anymore.
They want that money for that insurance because they get hit the most.
Yeah, they're not that premier position it used to be. But good luck to Dalvin Cook. I hope he goes somewhere and plays well. I personally think the Cardinals, but we'll see where he falls. Next up, we have a couple of signings with the Broncos signing former Chief Frank Clark to a 1-year deal, as well as former Vikings cornerback Cameron Dantzler finding a new home in Buffalo after the Bills signed him to a 1-year deal. So neither of those are huge signings, but both kind of fun ones. And all there was for news, not much this past week. This is as of Monday the 12th at 6 o'clock. Neither Dalvin Cook nor DeAndre Hopkins have been signed yet. So
no, DeAndre has a visit though in New England scheduled.
Interesting.
So that would be very interesting if he went to New England.
Yep. You'll be seeing this episode Thursday, so if something happens before I edit it, I'll pop it here right now. But for now, nothing has happened, so we'll get into Callan's list.
Yep, and we'll start off with my honorable mention. And this time my honorable mention is the Panthers' Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard. And these guys are both former starters. Miles Sanders with the Eagles last year, and Chuba Hubbard, obviously, after they traded CMC. And then they will both help out new quarterback Bryce Young. And I believe that this is a very key thing for a young quarterback to have is a veteran backfield. And that is one of the main things that you will see in this list. It's kind of a theme where a veteran backfield backs up a young new quarterback.
Yeah, these guys, a little bit of a spoiler, just barely fell off the top 10 in my list that you'll see tomorrow, but I really like these two. I'm a little shaky to see how Miles Sanders does somewhere else. He plays much older. You kind of mentioned he was a veteran, and I kind of thought he was too, but he's not really. I want to say he's a 2019 guy, which isn't overly young by today's standards, but he plays much older than that.
I think he's 4 years in.
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
He ran his rookie deal through Philly. So.
Yeah, but he plays much older than that. He brings a veteran presence, even though he's not quite in that veteran area yet. And then Chuba Hubbard, who they got 2 years ago out of OSU, is a guy that I still really like. And I think he's going to have a breakout season one of these years.
I know.
I've said it pretty much every year since his rookie year.
We've been pretty high on Chuba Hubbard, both of them.
Gosh, I really like him, even coming out of Oklahoma State.
He's just such a freak athlete.
It's got to happen eventually. He's got to break out eventually.
Carolina's a young team this year.
Definitely. Sorry about that quick break there. Now we'll keep it rolling with number 10.
And at number 10, I got the New York Jets' Breece Hall. And these guys could be higher on this list if this duo is able to stay healthy. And I believe that they are another kind of veteran backfield with Michael Carter leading the way. And it all depends if Breece Hall is able to return from his 2022 torn ACL, if he's able to return to that 2021 form that he had going into late last year.
Yeah, man, he was killing it before that injury. So I'm really hoping he can come back and continue to play well. And I'm really hoping Michael Carter does better. Because just like Chuba Hubbard, I want to say they even both came out of 2021. He came out of UNC and I had such high hopes for him. His rookie year, he showed those flashes.
He did.
But then every year he just keeps showing those flashes and never really taking that step. But together, these guys are going to be beasts, and now they have a true veteran in that backfield with them in Aaron Rodgers, which is going to take a lot of pressure off of that run game, having an elite quarterback.
Kind of the reverse of what I was saying. This has the veteran quarterback with the more inexperienced backfield.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see how the Jets do, just in general.
Yeah. And moving on, at number 9, I got the Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson and Cordero Patterson. Now, this was the number 1 rushing team in the NFL last year, and they added the most dynamic rookie in the running back in years. And I believe that that's going to really help this Atlanta Falcons offense. The inexperience kind of keeps them from being higher on this list, while Patterson still continues to make that transition to the running back from wide receiver. He still lines up in the slot sometimes, so it's hard to tell really what he is. He's kind of a gadget player. And what about Tyler Algier, who had a very, very great year last year backing up Cordero Patterson. So it will be interesting to see how he plays into this Atlanta Falcons role with Bijan Robinson now part of it.
We would never do this because there's only like 3 teams that even work for, but if we were doing running back trios, I might put Atlanta number 1. Tyler Algier is absolutely a beast, and he's running back 3 on their depth chart, I'm pretty sure, which is just kind of mind-blowing to think about. The only thing that makes me nervous about these Atlanta running backs is, man, do they have the talent. But Cordero Patterson's getting a little older, Bijan especially, but both Bijan and Tyler Algier are both very unproven. And more than anything, it's just their entire offense. Everything is on the shoulder of these 3 running backs, considering that you only have Drake London and Desmond Ridder as your quarterback in the passing game. So that's a lot of pressure. They're going to get a lot of touches. They're going to have the chances to show it, but lots of pressure, lots of wear and tear, and lots of focus on them.
I think Atlanta continues to run the ball and be the number 1 rushing team again this year.
Yep.
That is my prediction.
I could see it.
And moving on, at number 8, I got the Washington Commanders, Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. And it's hard to tell who the starter is here, because both of them were the starter last year, especially even after Brian Robinson came back from his injury. And so, will Robinson be able to reach his full potential now that he has a full, healthy offseason?
I think that's going to help him big time, definitely. I mean, he is able to come in week 8, week 9, whenever he came in, and still do what he did without an off season, coming off of an injury like a gunshot, which is just so weird to say.
It is a very random injury. Yes.
Yeah, it's not. Usually you could say, coming off a torn ACL, a torn blah, blah, blah. No, he's coming out of a gunshot wound, which is just crazy. But like I just mentioned a second ago, he was able to come back and play super well. He gets his whole off season. Antonio Gibson kind of had a down year last year, a little bit of a regression compared to the year before. But now he gets a little pressure taken off of him with a fully healthy Brian Robinson. It's going to be a scary duo, definitely.
And at number 7, I got the New Orleans Saints, Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams. And this was a down year last year for Alvin Kamara. and he needs to rebound in this 2023 year and show that he can return to form and really feed off the energy that Jamal Williams will bring. Because Jamal Williams is a full, electrifying player who just gets the whole team amped up, and he dances around and yells and screams, and he did it in Detroit, he did it in Green Bay, he'll do it in New Orleans. And if Kamara can really feed off that energy and really get to the next level like he has in years past, the Saints could be really scary this year.
Yeah, Jamal Williams, I love that analogy. He is an electric generator, and he's going to fit in so well in New Orleans. He's just going to fit that city to a T. But I think he's really going to help out because Alvin Kamara just isn't a goal line back. And that's where they struggled. In the red zone, when they tried to run Alvin Kamara, it just didn't work for them at the end of the day. And then I think that affected the offense as a whole, momentum, morale, everything. Now you got a guy like Jamal Williams who thrives in the red zone and especially on the goal line to punch in those touchdowns when Alvin Kamara takes him down the field doing his stuff in the passing game. Perfect compliment there in New Orleans.
It'll be fun to watch them this year. And at number 6, I got the San Francisco 49ers, CMC, and Elijah Mitchell. And I believe these guys probably should be higher, but they're just so injury prone. It's bound to happen for the
49ers in general
to just have injuries. It seems to happen to them every year. They get the injury bug and they wind up with their 7th wide receiver or 4th running back, or 4th string quarterback, like it was in the playoff game. So if they can prove that they can stay healthy, the whole team, or not just the whole team really, but specifically this running back room, if they can stay healthy, then they can really improve and help the 49ers possibly get to the Super Bowl this year.
It's funny that you have them low because of the injury thing, because I think you have them criminally low, and the reason I have them higher is because maybe I'm just too much of an optimist and thinking too brightly. But I'm thinking, no way they both get hurt again. They've both gotten hurt so many times. Christian McCaffrey having one of the best seasons ever in 2020, 2021, whenever that was, and tore his ACL. Elijah Mitchell was an up-and-coming beast his rookie year in 2021 and in 2022, and ended both of his seasons with an injury. These guys have gotten struck by lightning so many times that it just can't happen again.
More than likely not, but it seems to get them somewhere.
At least one of them have to play the whole season. There's no way it gets them both again.
We'll see. Maybe a new team will fix the injury bug for Christian McCaffrey. And moving on, at number 5, I got the Los Angeles Chargers, Austin Eckler and Josh Kelly. And Austin Eckler is one of the top all-around running backs in the NFL, I believe. It's a perfect complement as Josh Kelly, who kind of fits that same mold. And then the way that Austin Eckler just plays the game and is able to be that receiving running back, that power running back, and that shifty running back. And he is playing in a contract year, so you know that he's going to play his best and want to see if he can help lead the Chargers to a playoff win.
Yeah, I forgot he's in a contract year. That's a good point. Cal and I were just talking a little bit right before we started recording. But sometimes to complement each other as a running back, you don't necessarily have to have the different skill sets. Sometimes you can complement each other just by being similar in both having the same skill set, and that's definitely a situation here. Both of these guys are really good out of the backfield. Josh Kelly just gets me because just like Chuba, just like Michael Carter, I was always really high on Josh Kelly, and I've just kind of finally given up on him. He never really got much opportunity in LA, and he didn't do much with the opportunity he did get, hence him not getting as much opportunity. But I've kind of given up on him a little bit. I'd love to see him do well, but at the end of the day, it's just been too long.
I think he'll get his shot in LA next year. It sounds like they probably won't re-sign Eckler.
Which is crazy, but...
So we'll have to see how it goes. And at number 4, I got Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry, and Hassan Haskins. And Derrick Henry is one of the top power running backs in the NFL. And then they talk about being similar to your complement. Hassan Haskins is another big, powerful running back that can burst through those tiny holes and get the extra yardage. And nobody does that better than Derrick Henry, who has been one of the top running backs in the NFL for the past few years.
Yeah, Hassan Haskins out of Michigan last year was one of my favorite running backs coming out of the draft. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am, but I want to say he got like high 20 on the bench press out of the combine, which is just insane. There's offense and defensive linemen who don't put up high 20 on the bench press, and this guy was out there doing it. Absolutely crazy. He is just a freak athlete. And then I'm not even talking about Derrick Henry, who you could say the same things about. So that's a good duo there. Henry makes me a little nervous coming off an injury. Haskins unproven just because he's young, but definitely two freak athletes.
Yeah, Haskins another year in the NFL offseason training program. If he really focuses, I believe he could be the next big thing. He really could be.
The next big thing.
The big thing in Tennessee. They talk about moving Derrick Henry. There's a reason why they can talk about it, because maybe they have this guy ready to go. And moving on, at number 3, I have the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Now, the top duo from last year falls a little bit this year because of a kind of off year last year for A.J. Dillon. Aaron Jones put up another great year and put up really good numbers, both receiving and running. But A.J. Dillon had a very soft year, I'll call it. He didn't go and hit the contact hard like he should be doing and the way he's built to be doing. And he vowed to change that this year. He said in an interview that he was going to play harder this year. And that's good to hear coming from your third year running back who's playing actually another contract year also.
Yeah. I like that. A soft year. That's funny.
Yeah,
because it's true. If you compare his 2021 and 2022, that's really how it looked, was a little softer. Maybe he's just protecting himself going into that contract year. But yeah, I agree. I didn't want him to do well, but I had high hopes for them, or high expectations, I should say. But Aaron Jones just kind of remained stagnant. A.J. Dillon went a little bit downhill. Now they have Jordan Love at quarterback. They have all the talent there. Neither of them are overly injury prone. But that quarterback situation raises a question mark.
Yep, it's another, young quarterback with a veteran backfield to help lead the way. So it'll be interesting to see how they do this year. And then at number 2, I got the New York Giants, Saquon Barkley and Matt Breida. And I believe that Saquon is going to have one of his best years this year. And that's just coming up because was able to play nearly a full year last year. And I think that he improves on that this year and is able to put together a complete season and show that he can be the guy in the NFL and the top running back in the NFL. And then he has a nice complement with Matt Breida, who's a veteran presence for him, who can start if Saquon gets hurt, or at least give him some breathers, and won't be taking all the action away from Saquon, as you would say.
Oh man, here's my disagreement with your list, is this spot right here.
Yep.
Saquon by himself is probably one of the best running backs in the NFL on a good year. If he has a good year again, he'll be one of the best. But in his young career, whether by injury or by lack of production, he's never put up 2 good years in a row, which a lot of it has been injury, which is a bummer for him. So you have to kind of factor that in, and then it's just such a drop-off with Matt Breida, in my opinion.
There is quite the drop-off.
He's one of those San Francisco guys who was only good in San Francisco because every running back seems to be good in San Francisco. He's got speed. That's about it, but we'll see. Maybe he can prove me wrong.
He's a veteran guy. He'll step in when he needs to and help. I think he'll really help in the locker room and with Saquon that way, because Saquon was such a young superstar talent. He's kind of been the guy at Penn State, so it's a different world in the NFL.
That's true. Sometimes that early success kind of messes with people.
Mm-hmm. And then at number 1, I got the Indianapolis Colts, Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss. And I think that Jonathan Taylor is going to have another outstanding year, and if he can also put together a complete year. And if he is able to do that, I think that he can also be one of the top running backs in the NFL. He proved it in 2021, and he had a down year last year in 2022. But I think that if he puts together a full year and is able to stay healthy with that new quarterback in Indianapolis, that'll be really help that young quarterback and that veteran backfield with Zach Moss as a perfect complement in my eyes, because he's kind of that powerful running back that will go in the goal line situations and get that touchdown, where Jonathan Taylor kind of has had struggles in the past at the goal line.
Definitely last year he struggled a little bit on the goal line. 3 big reasons Jonathan Taylor had a down 2022, which I completely agree with that he did. Lack of quarterback with Matt Ryan back there, injuries on the offensive line for the Colts, and no one to back him up. Now you look at this year, new quarterback and a running quarterback, which of course always helps your run game. A healthy, hopefully can stay healthy offensive line, because it's one of the best offensive lines in the game when they do stay healthy.
That factored into my decision as well, because they can be.
And a really good backup in Zach Moss, a guy who I think didn't get near enough credit when he was in Buffalo, or enough opportunity when he was in Buffalo. So I think the Colts have a scary backfield this year.
Yeah, they definitely do. And like you said, if everyone can stay healthy and put together complete years, I believe that these top two running backs here with JT and Saquon will be the 2 top running backs in the NFL this year.
Interesting. Well, that was Callan's prediction for the top 10 2023 NFL running back duos. Tune back in tomorrow for my prediction on the top 10. But until then, don't forget
to eat the W.